What's up, fight fans? Mainman here. Y'all know how I get down. We talking boxing. So I'm checking out Terence Crawford's social media, and I see on his Twitter he taking some shots over at Jermell Charlo, in which he taking some shots at Charlo on his performance that he had against Brian Castano, and he is indicating that because of performances like that, that's the reason why Charlo ain't on a lot of pound for pound lists, telling him that he got to do better. And you know, people have started the discussion is going around boxing of whether or not that Jermell Charlo belongs on pound for pound lists. Now, I'm gonna say this off the jump: these mainstream pound for pound lists, can't trust them. Anything that's involved in a certain outfit, whether it's ESPN or PBC or anything, Matchroom or DAZN, you know, you can't trust these mainstream pound for pound lists. You know what I mean? Because they're all kind of bought and paid for. They're going to push the fighters that fight for their network or their promotional outfit, or even in certain, you know, websites and publications. Same thing. They in the pockets of promoters. They're going to put those fighters on those lists ahead of time. I even seen on ESPN they had Tyson Fury on the list, and we know we don't include no heavyweights. That's not even right. But as far as Jermell Charlo is concerned and his pound for pound discussion, first off, Terence Crawford has a vantage point, if you will, to be able to bring this up. And he's in a position that he has the credibility to bring this up, because he's already done what Jermell Charlo is trying to do. Jermell Charlo is trying to become undisputed and establish himself and reign as the #1 fighter at his class. Well, Terence Crawford has already done that. As a matter of fact, when Terence Crawford done it, it can be argued to have been a one-up. If you respect pound for pound placement and status based upon a fighter dominating while moving up in weight, well, in Terence Crawford's case, even when he fought Julius Ndongo, people got to remember he moved up from 35 and moved up to 40, and he beat the supposedly best guy at the class in Postal at the time, and then went after a unified champion in Julius Ndongo. So he did this while moving up in weight. As for in Jermell Charlo's case, well, his undisputed fight just kind of like falling in his lap at his own weight class. And Jermell Charlo didn't have to move up in weight and take on bigger opponents to achieve that goal. You know what I mean? So in the case where Jermell Charlo had his first crack at it, he didn't get the win. He didn't lose, but he didn't get the win. In Terence Crawford's case, he passed it with flying colors. Easy work. Got rid of Julius Ndongo. And people can laugh and say, well, that was Julius Ndongo. But at the end of the day, Julius Ndongo, prior to Terence Crawford, went into 2 separate world title fights and gained 2 separate world titles, and then pivoted to Terence Crawford. So Terence Crawford beat the perceived #1 guy in the class, and then beat the guy who was already racking up belts in Julius Ndongo and wiped him out. So once again, you know, at his first crack at undisputed, it wasn't a problem for Terence Crawford to do such at a higher weight class. And in Jermell Charlo's case, his first crack, he got a split draw. Now, in the conversation back to pound for pound for Jermell Charlo, well, like I say, man, before this fight, I had Jermell Charlo on my pound for pound list. After this fight, got Jermell Charlo on my pound for pound list. I think at the end of the day, Jermell Charlo still may have had that split draw with Brian Castano, but though he didn't win anything, he didn't really lose anything. Now, it's still going to be, I don't know how high I have him on my pound for pound list at this point, because if you want to look at it at what you done for me lately, though Jermell Charlo has 3 world titles, in his last 5 fights, he has 3 victories, 1 loss, and 1 draw. And so that's something that you're going to have to consider. I mean, in the last 5, 3 victories, 1 loss, 1 draw. Are those 3 victories strong enough to hold him over the loss and draw? Now, even in the loss to Tony Harrison, he did redeem himself and he knocked out Tony Harrison. But he did he do it in a dominant fashion though? I mean, Tony Harrison was kind of winning that fight to a lot of people until the knockout came. And not to mention, it was that really the 100% version of Tony Harrison. But either way, he got the knockout and he redeemed that loss to Tony Harrison. So, and he did it in devastating fashion. So I think that's still noteworthy. And you know, at the end of the day, the draw to Castano, whom Castano has a draw to Erislandy Lara and a victory over the relatively unknown Patrick Teixeira, who's the one he got the WBO title from. Well, going to a split draw with Castano, I think that, to me, and given the type of performance that Charlo put on, was not nearly as dominant, kind of subpar performance. In a way, if you have Jermell Charlo on your pound for pound list, I still would think you may drop him a few spots, and I wouldn't be mad at any fans that did that. But to say he doesn't make it, if I can find 10 other fighters, stylistically wise, if they were heavyweights, that I can put in front of Jermell Charlo around boxing, I don't think I can. I don't think I can. And though I respect fighters that move up in weight and win titles and do things to that effect, I do think resume plays a strong part into the argument. But moving up in weight and dominating just as, to me, plays a stronger point in the argument, in the pound for pound argument. And that's why Terence Crawford has the vantage point to be able to chime into this discussion and make fun of Jermell Charlo and stuff like that, because he's done it and been there and done that. And he's done it in every fashion, from dominance to moving up in weight to beating the champions to beating the guys at the class. He's done all of that. And, you know, of course, politics prevents him from continues to do that today, but Jermell hasn't. And I don't know, man. That draw and that loss does rub me the wrong way, but it does I can't find 10 other fighters around boxing stylistically, even if one night with this draw. And, you know, I still believe that if Jermell wanted to, and for a different fashion, he could have did more to Castano than what he did. So I got him there in my top 10. I will have to sit down and evaluate exactly where do I have him in my top 10. Originally, he was pushing towards my top 5. You know, but now we'll see. I got to reevaluate after that performance. But he didn't lose anything, though he didn't win anything. And he still has 3 world titles. Holds a lot of weight. But performance-wise, if he was a heavyweight coming in with a loss and a draw in his last 5, how high do you rate him on the pound for pound list? Interesting. I'm going to do a live stream about this fight, fans. We're going to have to throw this into the mix with Manny Pacquiao and Earl Spence Jr. and see if there's going to be some adjustments in the top 5 of the pound for pound list. We'll see. Thumbs up on the way out if you didn't hit it on the way in. Share, rock those bells. And I'll catch up with y'all real soon, man. Y'all have a blessed one, man. To the next video. Peace out.